today I'm gonna do an unboxing video. Um, this is the new Longines Hodinkee collaboration that they just launched, and credit to Hodinkee actually. The shipping on this was really quick, and I got it here in like a couple days. So I figured, why not do an unboxing video, something interesting. I myself have not seen this watch in person, so let's get started. So let me get the box open first. Alright, so the box looks fairly large. It reminds me of the Longines Legend Diver box. Nice padding and protection all around. And this looks like, I think this was the same box I got with the Legend Diver. Has a nice leather line in the center, wood finish on the case itself. Has a very nice solid feel to it, and good weight to it as well. Let's get it open. Alright, and there you have it, new limited edition Longines Hodinkee sector dial watch, as I guess it's referenced, although they have removed the sector from it. So this is the watch on bracelet, and they ship it with an extra leather strap. Alright, so I'm going to figure out how to unwrap this. It looks very well wrapped, to be honest. It has a very clean, purposeful look to it, and if you were to compare the differences, I'll put an image on the side here so you can take a look at the differences side by side. The key difference is obviously the numerals have been removed. Fundamentally, the case is the same. It's still the 38.5 millimeter case, and it's right around, I think, 12 millimeters or so thick. But there is a quite a dramatic difference when you take away those numerals and have a kind of more uniform, consistent look on the markers. And so they've kind of put these slightly thicker markers for the 369 to differentiate. The other difference, I think, color is a bit more on the cream brown side than the original, including the outer ring you see outside the silver. And the other change is obviously the logo and the removal of the sector, the lines in the middle that kind of divide the dial. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same watch. I mean, it's the same case, it's the same movement, it's the same crystal. I personally did not buy this for the bracelet. I'm not a fan of this style of bracelet. I'm sure there are folks who like it. I am also not a fan of the gap being seen between the bracelet and the case. But I do think it does work in a vintage sort of way. If you like the bracelet and the finish and the overall look, then it does work. Although I did buy it for the clean look, and to go with the leather strap, which is nice of them to include in this set. Let's take a look at the strap. Unfortunately, the lug width is at 19 millimeters, which is not a very easy lug width to find straps for, but you do get some good options. As you can see, it's a fairly simple, straightforward, nice soft edging, kind of almost like a matte brown look to it. It doesn't have much sheen on it. decent padding, nothing great, fairly flat, should be comfortable on the wrist. But I do believe this look is gonna be really cool. So here it is on strap configuration. This is the Nomos Shell Coda 1 strap, and I think it looks really nice on this watch. This is the type of combination that this watch was designed for, in my opinion, and playing around with different tones of vintage style straps I think will really work well. The movement in this watch is, I believe, called the L893, which is an ETA based movement. And this, basically what they did is they just dropped the beat rate a little bit from the 28,800, and it hence gets a bump in the power reserve, and it can do 64 hours now. And in this case, Hodinkee has certified this as a chronometer. They've sent it for certification, so that is another added bonus compared to the regular version of the watch. So value wise, yes, they did bump up the price a little bit, but they are shipping it with a bracelet, and it is a chronometer grade watch, and it is a limited edition. So there are a couple of reasons why you can see them increasing the price, but I still think it presents a very good value at this price point. Very few watches that have this level of finish and quality at this price point. Take a closer look at the watch. As I mentioned, it is 38.5 millimeters case width, and the lug to lug is, I believe, right around 47.5 or just under 48 millimeters, which is nice. It does have a raised sapphire crystal, which adds to the thickness of around total thickness is right around 12 millimeters or so, but it's not domed as such. It's kind of flat, which helps with the reflections. It's actually quite nice to see it not catch too many reflections in sharp angles. It's doing a great job just bouncing off the light, and the crystal, as you can see in angles like this, is really not getting in the way. Very nice to see. So the lugs themselves are also slightly tapered. I mean, not by much, but I think it does a good job of playing down the lugs. I like that they're fairly slim and they're not too thick. But I think the star of the show in this case would definitely have to be the dial, in terms of what Hodinkee has done to kind of simplify the dial as such, but also kind of make it a little more elegant and a little more interesting. This cream sort of brown tonality really works. It's very unique. I don't recall seeing this type of shade in watch dial in recent times, and the blued hands helps as well. It pops and provides a bit of contrast and dynamic content to the dial. And obviously the star of this the base model itself is the silver ring, and it really catches light elegantly and helps to provide a sense of pop and flare to the otherwise fairly flat dial. There are no applied markers or indices on this dial, and it's very flat looking. Even the paint applique is not exactly like three-dimensional in nature. It's fairly flat. So it's nice to see a bit of texture and reflection and pop from this dial thanks to that ring. There's a little more texture going on in the sub-seconds display, which has concentric rings. I believe this is there in the original model as well. As nothing unique to the limited edition. And lastly, I do think removing the kind of the sector division helps in sort of making this a little bit more unique and different in personality. I was always bothered with the vertical line kind of cutting the G in the Longines in the other model, which I couldn't get over that. So one of the other reasons I didn't buy that watch. Um, and I kind of like this Longines chronometer, print on it. It's kind of simple, but it looks nice. Adds to the sort of vintage vibe overall. And the case back, nothing special here. Fairly straightforward Longines logo, and it's polished. Interestingly enough, I'm not entirely sure why, but it does call out that it is a Hodinkee limited edition. So on the wrist, it does sit very comfortably, and it does actually the weight balance is very nice, and it sits flat, and it's refreshing to kind of see a brushed finish that still has a good amount of pop. And as you can see, it dances with the sunlight. The silver ring really dances with the sunlight, and it's a great look. That's a wrist shot right there. I think it fits just perfect. You can see how the mildly curved lugs really help wrist position, and it has a very nice perfectly proportioned look. I did read a lot of comments asking for the watch to be in a smaller size. I think that wouldn't have worked in this case. I think the sector dial, if you notice, the way the outer ring is, it leaves a couple of on the outer edge, and if you were to shrink this down further, you would either have to lose that part, which kind of will lose the appeal a little bit, or you'd have to shrink everything down, which will make the dial look way too small. In this case, as you can see, it doesn't come off as a large watch, even though 38.5 by modern standards for a vintage styled watch would be on the slightly higher side, but I think it wears perfectly, and I think they made the right call on the size. So there you have it. That's the unboxing initial look for the Longines Hodinkee collaboration limited edition watch, and hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and leave comments or questions, and I'll try to answer them. Thank you.